Hello there, lovely listeners, and welcome back to Empowerment Junction. I'm your host, Olivia Bassi, and this is your go-to space for diving into the heart of real-life experiences and uncovering those practical nuggets of wisdom that empower you to truly love your best life. It was so wonderful having you join me for our last episode where we navigated the often tricky terrain of rejection. A massive thank you to each and every one of you who tuned in and stayed with me right to the end. Yeah, I know, it was a bit of a longer journey as we explored the incredible life story of Maya Angelou, and I truly hope you found those insights helpful in navigating your own experiences. Now, shifting gears to something equally vital for your well-being, today we are delving into the art of protecting your peace. Stick around because I'll be sharing actionable strategies and tips to help you cultivate and safeguard that precious inner calm. I'll start by saying, think for a moment about something truly valuable to you. It could be your peace of mind, your emotional well-being, your precious time, or even your heartfelt vulnerability. We all have these pearls in our lives, things we hold dear and want to protect. Now, an ancient wisdom found in the Bible actually cautions us with a powerful image. And it writes, "Do not give what is holy to dogs, nor cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn and tear you in pieces." Now this verse, which is Matthew chapter 7 verse 6, at first glance might seem harsh, but it holds a profound truth that resonates deeply even in our modern, fast-paced world. So really, what does it mean to cast our pearls before swine today? Are there modern day swine that trample on our peace and leave us feeling drained or even attacked? And how can we in our daily lives become better guardians of our precious pearls, our inner harmony and well-being? Now, I have to say this topic is close to my heart and so vital for our mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. And this episode and topic was inspired by a message I received from a listener. And that's why I went to find that Bible verse, because I know exactly what it means. And it really stayed with me, and I think it will resonate with many of you as well. Now here's what they wrote. "My friend is upset because I'm not focused on every political and social injustice. They are glued to the news and social media and anything that seems to pull in the negative energy. And I gently suggested that they may want to set some boundaries around that, because I could see it was making them bitter, miserable, and hyper-focused on every negative thing. Now they're upset with me, saying I'm the problem, saying I'm not concerned about the social injustices and everything that's going on, because I choose to protect my peace." Now, how many of us have been here? Because this one hits deep, doesn't it? It raises such powerful and familiar question. How do we protect our peace without feeling guilty or being misunderstood? Now, to get to today's conversation, I want to ask you a quick question. How many of you feel emotionally drained after having a conversation with certain people or after accessing certain media channels or certain news channels or outlets? I have many times. I remember particularly a season where spending time with certain individuals or accessing certain spaces always left me exhausted. And yet, I felt guilty even thinking about creating distance, particularly with certain individuals. Because when you're in a type of a friendship and you love these individuals, and obviously you want to see the best for them, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they are going to see the best for you is how to protect your peace. Because when someone is using you as an emotional dump, they're not thinking about you really, let's be honest, are they? And because you want to be a good friend, you feel guilty even thinking about creating distance. Am I right in this? I know many of you who are listening might be like, yeah, I resonate with that. But eventually, I'll tell you what I did after much reflection and a much journaling and much going into my prayers and reading the Bible. I realized I couldn't keep sacrificing my own well-being to preserve someone else's comfort, because that's what it is. They want to be comfortable at your expense. And eventually I had to choose myself. And that's really at the core of it. So what does it mean to protect your peace, and how can we do it, especially when it affects our relationships? Now let's talk about spiritual boundaries, because I think this is really at the core of this message that I received. Now, spiritual boundaries aren't about shutting people out of our lives or living in a bubble. No. They're about creating invisible lines that help you guard your energy, your peace, and your emotional health. It's about staying rooted in your values and truth, even when the world around you feels chaotic or emotionally charged. In other words, spiritual boundaries are a deep form of self-respect. And when I mean self-respect, because really that is what? That is the divine guidance, divine protection, and divine wisdom that we're given in the Bible. When it talks about your pulse, what are your pulse? Your pulse, number one, is your emotional energy. This is a precious resource. Constantly engaging with negativity, arguments, or people who don't value your feelings drains you. Your next pulse is your vulnerability and trust. Sharing your deepest thoughts and feelings is valuable and should be reserved for those who will treat them with care. And as an example, for the individuals I had to distance myself from, is because they would take your precious pearls. When you trust an individual as a friend, for example, and they decide to take your pearls, or take your trust and abuse it and go and discuss some of your private business with somebody else, that is somebody who's trampling on your pearls. Your next pulse is your time and attention. These are finite resources. Spending them on unproductive conflicts or with people who constantly disrespect you diminishes your peace. And my last one is your boundaries, your personal boundaries and your spiritual boundaries. These are the lines you draw to protect your well-being. They are sacred and essential for maintaining inner harmony. And when I'm talking about healthy spiritual boundaries, these allow you to, number one, say no without guilt. That alone is revolutionary for many of us. Yes. Number two, it protects your energy from draining people or toxic dynamics. I've already told you, these are your pulse. Your pulse, your emotional energy, your vulnerability and trust, your time and attention and your boundaries, they're your pulse. Staying grounded even when things get chaotic. and refraining from being pulled into every drama or negative cycle around you. Because this Bible verse, if you break it down, let's talk about the dogs and the swine. The dogs and the swine and the energy drainers. And it comes in this way. They represent certain people or situations that don't appreciate or understand your perspective. They may dismiss your feelings, belittle your experiences, or refuse to engage in respectful dialogue, or they may actively seek to provoke or harm you. This could be toxic individuals we've talked about, online trolls, or consistently negative environments. Another way to look at this as dogs or swine is they will misuse or devalue what you offer. And this is vital. Just as swine wouldn't recognize the value of pearls, some people will never appreciate your efforts to connect, understand, or offer kindness. That's just it. And they will ultimately turn on you. Engaging with those who are consistently disrespectful or hostile can lead to emotional distress, conflict, and a loss of your inner peace. Protecting your peace is a consistent habit of practice. You have to keep practicing it every day. And when you apply this with wisdom, it means, number one, you remain discerning about who you share your world with. Choose to confide in people who are trustworthy, empathetic, and respectful. Setting and maintaining healthy boundaries. Don't feel obligated to engage with negativity or allow others to disrespect your time and energy. These are your pals. Learn to say no when necessary. Recognizing when your efforts are being wasted. If you consistently find yourself trying to reason with someone who is unwilling to listen or appreciate your point of view, and they call themselves a friend, it might well be time to disengage. Love them from a distance. Next, pal, prioritizing your mental and emotional well-being. Just as you wouldn't throw something precious into the mud, it's like your diamond. Be mindful of where you invest your emotional energy and learning to walk away from unproductive conflict. Sometimes the most peaceful action is to disengage rather than try to win an argument with someone who isn't operating in good faith. And I want to add as well, because I think it's important. The reason why spiritual boundaries are essential is because we risk emotional burnout. This Bible verse, go and take it, memorize it, stick it somewhere so it can remind you of your pals. We make decisions rooted in guilt instead of intuition when you don't have your spiritual boundaries, or when you let people trample on your pals. We stretch ourselves so thin, we have nothing left for ourselves of the things that truly matter. And most importantly, we hinder our growth, whether it's spiritually, physically, mentally. Your peace is your pals. Don't let people trample on them. Now you might be wondering, how do I know if I need to set strong spiritual boundaries? Or how do I know that I really need to look after these pals, or my pals are being trampled on? Number one, here are the signs. I've got 4 signs here that really I would be paying attention to. Number one, you feel emotionally exhausted after certain interactions. Number 2, you struggle with saying no even when you want to. Number 3, you often feel overwhelmed, resentful, or guilty after spending time with certain people or being in certain environments. Number 4, you frequently put others' needs above your own well-being. Does this sound familiar? Now let's talk about how to set those boundaries with clarity, confidence, and not guilty or not guilt. So the strategies I'm offering today, I hope they'll be able to help you because I employ them and I've used them all the time. First place to start, identify your energy drainers. Identify them and be honest with yourself. What or who consistently disrupts your peace? It could be as simple as the minute your phone rings and this person rings. Test How do you feel? What's your intuition feeling like? How do you feel? Generally ask yourself. Second place, or second strategy, trust your gut. If something feels off or too much, it probably is. Stop lying to yourself. Third place, communicate clearly and gently. You can be kind and firm at the same time. Try phrases like, I understand this matters to you, but I need to take a break from this conversation. And generally, a true friend will actually think, oh, okay. They will respect that. They will respect that. Another way you can use this, I appreciate your concern, but this topic is a bit too heavy for me right now. Very important. Support yourself with spiritual practices, Bible reading, journaling, prayer, biblical affirmations. I did an episode on biblical affirmations. You can use it as a way to ground yourself every day when you wake up. If you're walking to work, put it in your ear, listen to it. They are there for a reason. They are powerful to help you move on to the next stages. Now, these tools build your inner strength and resilience because it's about what comes from inside, not outside. Next strategy, feel the guilt but don't obey it. And you will. When you tell that person no, or when you just tell them, no, my weight is not for discussion today, you will feel guilty because they're used to doing or coming up with those comments or saying that. So the minute you start saying no, you might feel a bit guilty because like, oh, maybe I don't need to do that. They're just joking. No, don't joke at my expense. If you want to joke, go and joke at your expense, not at my expense. In fact, somebody told me the other day that they match energy with energy. I'm not that type of, I don't go that way, but whatever works for you, you've got to do it. Guilt is often a sign, or just a sign that you're breaking old people-pleasing patterns. Acknowledge it, then release it. Bye-bye, guilt. Bye-bye, guilt. I'm choosing myself today. Accept that not everyone will understand, and that's okay, very okay. Their discomfort, I'll put it this way, is not your responsibility. As I've told you, a true friend will be like, okay, fair enough, I'll back away. Now, here's the truth. Your peace is your power. Protect it without apology. They're your pals. And when you look at the bigger picture, let's be honest, the world can feel like a mess. The world really sometimes is a mess. The news is overwhelming. Social media is a constant flood of injustice, conflict, and heartache. And I can tell you, if you think about it this way, let me put it this way. I had an amazing mom. She used to work in South Sudan. And I remember this from the time I was very little. I'm over 40 now, going to my 50s. I don't want to disclose my age, but yeah. So I remember from the time I was little, my mom used to go work and used to help go and work and help the refugees, and she used to get a charter plane and go to South Sudan, where we used to be based in Kenya. And she'd come back and tell us all the conflict that's happening in Sudan and what's going on in that war area. And at that time, I was still a little young girl, a child, maybe 3, 4. Obviously, you grow up, and now in my 40s. That war is still happening. So what does that show you? The point here is, these things, there's a flood of injustice, there's conflict, there's heartache. It's always going to be there. People before us, we've been born in these conflicts, and they're still happening. So you only have to score for 5 minutes, and suddenly your hope in humanity feels shaken. It's heavy and it's real. But here's the thing. You are not responsible for fixing everything. Remember that. You are not God. God is aware of these things. You are not the world savior. You can't carry every burden, and you were never meant to. No, you were never meant to at all. So what can you do? Take control of yourself. Shift your focus inward. Choose your responses. Protect your energy. Nurture your peace. That's where real transformation begins. We can't change the whole world, but we can decide how we show up in it. Very important. And for those of us who lean on faith scripture as they offer comfort and guidance, Philippians 4 verse 7, Philippians 4 6 to 7 reminds us, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Very powerful verse. Very powerful. Remember that. It's not for you to shoulder that. Even when the world is loud and full of uncertainty, peace is still possible. It's deeper than what's going on around you. It's what's anchored within you. And while we're on the subject of guarding what's sacred within us, I want to remind you again, go back to Matthew chapter 7 verse 6. Do not give what is holy to dogs, and do not throw your pearls before swine, or they will trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces. Again, be wise stewards of your inner resources by recognizing what and who truly values your pearls of peace. We protect ourselves from unnecessary turmoil and spiritual depletion. It's not about judgment, it's about discernment. It's about self-respect and understanding that not everyone or everything deserves access to your most precious self and time. And to summarize, think of your peace like a lighthouse in the middle of a storm. The waves can rage, the winds can howl, but the lighthouse remains still, grounded, lit. That's what protecting your peace looks like. It's tending to that light within you so it keeps shining for you and maybe even for someone else who needs to see it. And I want to leave you with this. Don't let the chaos of the world make you bitter. Don't let guilt keep you in spaces that drain your spirit. And don't shrink your light to make others comfortable. Sometimes the most radical thing you can do is simply choose peace. And how do you choose peace? You choose yourself in your heart, in your home, and in your daily decisions. Make sure you set your boundaries, protect your soul, choose your energy. Because from that place of peace, you can do your best work in the world without losing yourself in the process. As the Dalai Lama said, don't let the behavior of others destroy your inner peace. Please try and hold on to that truth on this Easter Monday. Before you go, I want to leave you with this reflection. Where in my life am I giving my peace away too freely? And what boundary do I need to set to protect it? Take a moment to journal on that. Be honest, be gentle, and remember, you are not selfish for choosing peace. Until next time, my name is Olivia Bassi, and I'm the host of Empowerment Junction. Stay rooted, stay radiant, and keep choosing you. Bye for now.